required with practice.
Dr. Trump, you've got a substantial amount of input. You think we could work toward setting up a meeting?
Well, I will try to do that. As I said, I did speak with Representative Jones on last Friday, and I will try to contact MSBA, if anything, to get perhaps a teleconference.
I'll give Representative Jones.
Well, we have a finance committee meeting Friday morning.
Right.
We might be able to schedule for that time.
See if I can get him to, yeah, good idea. I was gonna put the agenda out this evening.
If you do have that, it's going to be scheduled for Friday morning, with the town administrator to post in case there's a majority of the board that shows up. We might have three, just in case.
Okay, sure.
Again, I think all superintendents were probably taken by surprise by this new requirement to prioritize the statement of interest. That was never on the table. It was clearly, we were clearly informed, follow the rules, submit your statement of interest based on your needs, and that MSBA would evaluate each of those statement of interests. And my feeling is now they're pushing it back on communities because they're overwhelmed. And it would be difficult to not represent North Reading in the best possible light. I do think the batch is in a very unique situation and should be pursued aggressively. At the same time, I think I want to be careful, or we should be careful of turning away from our future needs as well. So if somehow we get guidance from MSBA that we can treat this in a unique way, then I think we ought to pursue that. And that, I agree, Mr. Misery, was the feeling that we got when we had that meeting, which was specifically focused on the bachelor
We
school.
were really encouraged.
Well, we were not.
Encouraged to submit.
We were encouraged to submit a statement of interest, and we were not told, no, you can't apply. I think if that was the case, we would have been told. We wouldn't be here.
Certainly not going to get two bites at the apple early on.
Okay. You want to take a 5-minute break? Thank you for coming and all interested citizens and members of the Boy Scouts.
Selectmen are 22, so today's 10. I can only do one. Yep, 10. It'll also
Getting input from that.
Yep, I'm under pressure by the board.
You guys both want to have another meeting,
Actually, they were used nothing. So where do we want to start? Mr. Belconis?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. This discussion comes from the board's meeting on July 23rd, where the board was presented with information on 6 parcels of land. 6 parcels of land in various locations in town that individuals had previously expressed an interest in acquiring. And the board's policy requires that they hold a public meeting, and they advertise that public meeting at least 7 days in advance. That they notify through that advertisement any interested party to be present this evening. And also, as part of that process, the town boards and committees are notified. And they're given the opportunity to respond as to whether the land that the board is considering this evening is something that they would be interested in. And the selectmen have responses from the Housing Partnership, the Housing Authority, the Conservation Commission, Community Planning Commission, Parks and Recreation, Land Utilization Committee, Finance Committee, School Department, and DPW. I apologize, they're all summarized on one sheet. So that's the process, and we have advertised. No decisions have been made at this stage. The board's policy requires them to proceed with having an open public meeting. One of the reasons why this is being looked at is the town is looking for ways to raise some revenues by returning property back to the tax rolls. In my judgment, it's important that the town look at alternative revenue sources, and town land represents an opportunity to secure some revenues through non-traditional tax-based means. So that's the reason why we're here this evening, and I will turn it over to the chairman of the board members from this stage.
Now, when I look at the interest here, housing partnership for these lots, is there an explanation behind their interest?
You know, in June of every year, we request all municipal departments, boards, and committees to respond on all town-owned land. And there are probably 100-odd pieces of property that they respond to. We take all of those responses and we shrink them down into a matrix. There's no requirement. However, that's the reason why they're given the opportunity to be here this evening, that if they have specific land that they wish to preserve or make you aware of what their concerns are, that's the opportunity for them to do so this evening. And they did receive an invitation to this meeting.
So do we have a representative from the housing partnership here this evening? Do we have a representative from conservation?
Mr. Chairman, I want to mention you do not have a representative from Conservation, but you do have their written response,
Okay.
which was provided in your packet this evening.
That one.
It was in this evening's packet.
Oh, this evening's
This evening's packet with the number 9. This was already responded. And I do have the accompanying maps that go with these parcels that delineate the wetlands. We did not reproduce those. However, I would make those available to the board members as discussion proceeds this evening on the individual parcels only.
So CPC's concern is all of those lands and wetland. I thought we talked about these lots as being acceptable, just a couple of them related to,
The Oakhurst Terrace pieces are all have to do with Marks Pond septic problem.
so are they, or are they not in the wetland?
There is a small portion that has to start from Mr. O'Leary. There is a small portion on those lots that's been identified by the Conservation Commission as being wet. Those lots are not entirely wet, but there is a small portion of those parcels.
Okay,
I think on those Oakhurst Terrace parcels, Mr. Chairman, was, first and primary concern was the DPW interest, in which they now express no interest.
Correct.
So,
and when we discussed it, it was primarily to allow the,
quality of and we were also concerned with the other director, butter, ensure that there was some sort of, agreement, and it was the quality of here, they know, they were able to work out some sort of agreement. Mr. Froman.
and that was related to providing additional land to resolve septic issues.
Mr. Chairman, I forgot to acknowledge the building inspector who was here this evening, and he's also given you his comments, and he can speak to any questions about whether there are any building restrictions associated with the property. He's quite familiar with it, and he's given you his recommendation.
Sit right. Right in front of me here. Would you like to comment on these lots for us?
You doing the Oakhurst Terrace ones?
Yes, Oakhurst Terrace.
The only comment I have is that the Oakhurst Terrace it's a dirt road that goes to the 2 houses that are at the end. In the 3 lots in question, there's 2 lots in front of those, so it's actually 5 lots that the road goes over. Oakhurst Terrace was never built. It's actually to the right, and it's in the wetlands. So the access to the two existing houses go right over all these lots. So I don't know how you'd handle the easement rights for the two existing homes that are at the end of Oakhurst Terrace, to still maintain rights to drive over these lots if you were to sell them.
Right away.
Yeah, it's actually the right of way is over the 5 town-owned lots that go right down Oakhurst
Is there,
Terrace.
do we know if there's an existing right of way now? Or is it just presumed?
It's just, I mean, the road was never built, it's to the right, it's in the wetlands, so this was just,
So
like all
actually-
those lots over there.
Actually, according to this map, that's not where the road is.
Right,
So the road actually swings into the lot.
swings
To get
right
around.
across all those lots.
So does it go across lot 258 too?
271 and 258. As you drive in.
Okay, so it really skirts the wetlands and goes through the center of the,
These lots.
the three lots. That's interesting.
Yeah. We didn't know that.
Also cuts down the amount of land that would be available. And of course, that road then allows access to the 2 lots that we're talking about, though, right? Those are the
The
two.
273 and the 256 have the homes on it.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Is it 54 and 62? No, those are,
Chair, if I might suggest, that maybe Mr. Fothergill could enlighten us a little bit more as far as the actual egress is there and what you were talking about doing as far as septic. How is, there's actually 5 parcels there, I think. 2 you were looking for?
3.
3, the 3 you were looking for. I mean, obviously, the access to your property and the other gentleman's property
It's across all 5.
is across all 5, and it isn't necessarily, it is not where it's laid out on the map.
Actually, the gray area you see that looks like a road, that's where Oakhurst Terrace East is, although it's not a road. As the building inspector was saying, that was put in there originally to provide access to the town, I don't know when, way back, in order to build, there's supposedly a 5-house development going into the swamp, where they're gonna build a road in there. And that was all kiboshed, and they just left this little dirt egress in, if you will. Is there an existing right-of-way across those 5 properties? I have no idea, and I tend to doubt it. I think it was just put in.
No, but as far as if you were to purchase the land, and you anticipated, again, I assume that's a conversation with the other gentleman, as far as approving a septic system,
Right.
how would that be, how does the access to your properties get affected? Because you have wetlands to the southerly side, to the southerly side,
Yeah.
which is where the right way is. And then the actual egress of the properties, again, is more northerly. It cuts down the actual landmass that becomes available for,
If you have enough room in this,
I mean, obviously, you can put a driveway over a septic.
Yeah, I don't see any problem with the other house, as far as giving, well, let me back up. I had a conversation with him right after the June 4th meeting that I was originally at, and he said, and I have this in writing, it's a blank copy of it, not with me. He didn't have any interest in purchasing the land. He's putting in a tight tank next to his house that he's renovating right now, because eventually down the road, he wants to tie into the sewer system. So his whole interest is in flipping that house, quite honestly. So he has no interest in purchasing this, and all he wants is access to his house. Now, if I was able to purchase this land, of course, I'd grant him a right-of-way, so that he could access his house. I don't have any problem with that. As far as restricting the access into there, I don't have any issue with that. I just want to make use of the land for my septic system. Does that answer your question?
yeah.
And I don't have any, to add on to that, since I'm not interested in the first 2 parcels, which are town-owned land, I also don't have any problem with the town having access to, all the way in either.
you're interested in one of these parcels?
3.
103.
The 3 closest to my house, which would provide me the square footage, I believe it's 4,000 plus square feet. It would provide me enough square footage to move my existing septic system further away from the lake and rebuild it.
Greg, do you have any idea why the housing partnership has a ESC, or is that just something that's been there forever?
I